Let's talk about the Naruto light novels, and in particular, let's talk about their timeline, or should I say, timelines. Ever since the end of the Naruto manga series in late 2014, Shueisha has been smothering us with countless light novels that expand the events after the end of the series. But remember, we don't really know who's supervising them. Is it Kishimoto? Is it now Kodachi? Is it some editor over at Shueisha? And how strict is their supervision? We just don't know. What we do know is that over the past 5 years, we've been given four official light novel timelines, which we also don't know who put together, that are intended to show the placement of the novel's events in the Naruto franchise. In this video, I will not focus so much on the timeline's events, but more on the criticisms I have about the timelines themselves. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the first timeline, which was released after the publication of the first Shinden novel series back in 2015. Let's go through it real quick. We have the two Itachi Shinden novels, then the Naruto series up to chapter 699, then Kakashi Hiden, Shikamaru Hiden, the last Naruto the movie, Sakura Hiden, Konoha Hiden, Gaara Hiden, Akatsuki Hiden, Sasuke Shinden, and finally the events of chapter 700, Naruto Gaiden, and Boruto Naruto the movie. Now, my problem with this timeline is here. Yes, it's true, Shikamaru Hiden and the last are both said to take place roughly 2 years after the end of the Fourth Shinobi World War, so it's implied there's not much time between the two, but I would argue that if we go by the novels themselves, the last should be considered to have happened slightly before Shikamaru Hiden, not the other way around, and here's why. In Shikamaru Hiden Chapter 1 Part 7, there's a scene that was not animated in the Naruto Shippuden adaptation of the novel, in which Sakura says to Naruto, "Anyway, how are things going between you and Hinata lately? Shouldn't you ask these things to her instead of me?" To which Naruto replies, "What, you jealous?" To which Sakura gets triggered. Now this exchange heavily implies that Naruto and Hinata are already dating at this point. There's no other explanation. And we know that nothing was going on between them before the events of the last. Why would Sakura ask that question? And what is she supposed to be jealous about if Naruhina wasn't already a thing? Don't get me wrong, this scene could easily be just a misunderstanding between the writer of the novel Takashi Yano and the supervisor, whoever that is. It's just one scene after all. Now, on to the second timeline that we were given in 2017. To be fair, this timeline was updated during the year as new novels were being released, but I will just consider the latest version and count it as one. This timeline is specifically for the Boruto novel series, a series of 5 installments that are intended as novelizations of the Academy entrance arc, the school trip arc, and the graduation exam arc from the Boruto anime. Although this final installment that supposedly adapts the graduation exam arc actually tells the stories surrounding the exam, not the exam itself, and is therefore a completely original story. It does not tell the events of the anime. But anyways, I don't have problems with how the novels are placed relative to each other here, but rather with this. In the Naruto manga, chapter 700 is implied to take place 1 or 2 days before Naruto Gaiden, as evidenced by the dialogue of Kakashi and Guy in the middle portion of the chapter that ties into the phone call scene in Gaiden where Kakashi is wearing a bathrobe, and this was further cemented in the Konoha Shinden novel, as we'll see later, while here the two are separated by Boruto novels 1, 2, and 3, adapting the Academy entrance arc. But more importantly, how could Chapter 700 happen before the Academy entrance if we know that Boruto and company are already attending the Academy during Chapter 700? Hey guys, post-production Dapintosh here. There's something that I just want to add real quick. Somebody might also argue that Naruto Gaiden cannot have a placement here because in its very first pages, Shino states that the final exam will take place the following week, and on this timeline, they put the school trip arc in between Gaiden and the final exam. So I think there are three possibilities here because we know that they did go on a school trip to the Land of Water even in the Boruto manga. So option one, the school trip still happened after Gaiden in the manga. Maybe if we assume that Gaiden happens early in the week prior to the exam, we can then have the exam take place the following week, late in the week, so that we have room in between for the school trip. But this is kind of dumb because it's very unlikely that they would organize a school trip so close to the final exam. Or option two, the school trip happened before Gaiden, but there's a problem here because Sarada fought using her Sharingan during the school trip, which she didn't have before Gaiden, so she would be considerably nerfed. Or option 3, we accept the slight retcon we had in the Boruto anime, where the events of Naruto Gaiden are placed a long time before the exam. Now, as much as I don't like the idea of changing what Kishimoto himself wrote, it should also be noted that it's not unusual for Kishimoto to make retcons in his own series, is it? So I think we should probably go for option number 3, but likely we're never gonna have an answer, so your guess is just as good as mine. Now, back to the video. Let's take a look now at 2018's promotional timeline, where we have everything that we were shown in the previous two timelines, errors included, with the addition of the Konoha Shinden novel, which was retroactively recognized as the first installment of the second Shinden series. And you guessed it, there's a new problem here. Like I hinted at earlier, Konoha Shinden happens at the same time as Naruto Gaiden, starting with the Kakashi and Guy scene from chapter 700 and ending after the Gaiden events are already over. So I'm fine with them placing it after chapter 700, but both of them should have been moved between Boruto Novel 3 and 4, where Naruto Gaiden is also placed. And finally, in 2019, we got the latest novel timeline as of the recording of this video. The only difference with the third one is that they removed the Naruto Gaiden, probably because of space problems, and added the core installments of the second Shinden series, as well as the latest Retsuden series. I haven't read the Retsuden series yet, so I cannot comment on its installments placement. Hopefully it's correct. But I read the second Shinden series and I can tell that it's actually heavily implied that its first installment, Naruto Shinden, actually takes place before the Chunin exam, and therefore it should be placed before Boruto Naruto the movie here. At the beginning of chapter 4 of Naruto Shinden, it stated that not long has passed since Sasuke was in Konoha for the Shin Uchiha ordeal, and I don't really know the reason why they wouldn't say since he was in Konoha for the Chunin exam if this was happening after the movie. Also, Sasuke finds out in this novel that Sakura had accidentally destroyed her and Sarada's house during the Gaiden events, and I think it's a little bit unlikely that Sasuke didn't find that out in all those days he spent training Boruto for the Chunin exam. So the evidence is a little blurry on this one, but I think most of it points at a pre-Boruto movie setting. But what do you guys think? Did I miss something? Is there something you want to add? Let me know in the comment section down below and follow me on Twitter. Or don't. Bye bye!